Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm finally going to be changing the oil in my truck. Now I've been waiting a little bit because I ordered a reusable oil filter and it's taken a little bit to get here. So yes, you can take the oil filter apart so you can clean it. It uses a stainless steel mesh. It's actually really nice. It's made out of aluminum. It has a finned housing. And it's just gonna be a lot better than the factory filter. It's also gonna be a lot better than those CAT upgraded filters because the CAT ones still use a paper element inside the oil filter housing or in the oil filter itself. And this is gonna flow a lot better. It's going to catch a lot more contaminants. And then when I change my oil in 3,000 to 4,000 miles, I can pull the stainless steel elements out. When I clean them, I could see anything that's happening inside the engine, which is really convenient and really nice. I also ordered a similar oil filter for the Magnum Hellcat. That should be here tomorrow. And the reason I ordered that for that car is because it has a smaller body housing and it should resolve all my oil filter fitment issues with the larger housing factory oil filter. So let's load everything in the truck, head over to the junkyard, and I'm going to use a thermal imager on the oil filter and see if we gain anything from just the aluminum body from the stamped steel body. So I have the thermal imager and I have an aftermarket reusable oil filter and I have some oil for my truck. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drive to the junkyard, use the thermal imager to see what the temperature of the engine and the oil filter is. And then when I drive home, it's the same exact distance. Today it's going to be in the 50s, so there and back is going to be around the same temperature. And then I'll see what the difference is because the aftermarket oil filter is finned and the stock one is just a stamped steel one, which somebody said in a forum that the aftermarket aluminum ones ran hotter. So I want to see if that's true. They said their engine oil temps were hotter as well. And the thermal imager will be a yes or a no. And I'm really happy that I have this because now I can compare stuff. And when I Cerakote stuff, it'll be the same thing. I can compare it with the thermal imager. So now what I want to see is the oil filter temperature. It looks like it's 160. It seems about right because every time I grab it, when I undo the, when I change the oil, it seems very warm. And the engine block is like 170-ish degrees. Then up here we can look at the engine. The intake is nice and cool. The top of the head is not bad. Yeah, really not bad. 170, 150, 180. All the way up there is still cool. With EGR, these things, yeah, like all the way to the turbo is still cool. Look at that. Yeah, with EGR, these things are just run super hot. Down there, in between the block, it's only, like, highest was like 190. You can see all the lines, which is pretty cool, that coolant runs through. All the lines are coolant's running through. Then we have the coolant reservoir. Looks like, is it saying that? Oh no, down there. What is down there? What is going on? Oh, that's a coolant hose down there. 130. The batteries are cool. Yeah, this is awesome. Being able to see all this because if you just looked at it, you didn't touch it, you wouldn't really know what was cool and what wasn't. Like the intake up there is now kind of getting heat soaked, the plastic. It's getting a little bit hotter, 186. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the oil and replace the filter with the aftermarket one. We're going to drive the same distance and then see when I get home what the temperature of the filter is. And it should be drastically cooler because it's an aluminum filter, it's finned, and a lot of air is going by that area. So I now have all the oil drained out of the pan, and what I'm going to do is remove the factory filter and replace it with this aftermarket filter right here that's reusable, and it also has cooling fins on it, which I'm going to test with the thermal imager. But any thermal transfer that you can achieve for free, especially on a filter, is a plus. But I'm really happy because these things are supposed to flow a lot better. They're supposed to filter a lot better, and they're just supposed to overall be a better filter than the factory ones that have the paper element in them. So let's swap these. I'll put some oil in this filter. I like to fill them up before I put them on, especially when they're mounted like they are on the Super Duties. And then we'll see with the thermal imager when I get home if this one runs cooler than that one. A little bit of oil. You're going to put oil on the O-ring, always on your oil filters. Oil on that O-ring. Now what I like to do is always wipe off the surface right here. Because man, it gets all super cruddy. You can use your old rag and wipe behind the filter. And it gets kind of cruddy behind there too. Now install this beautiful filter. Man, look at this thing. Whew. Almost a shame. Oh man, it's way nicer than the factory ones. You know exactly when it's tight. Looks like a blown head gasket. Oh yeah. Now, I'm only just putting one bottle of this stuff in. I put oil in it to get all the rest of it out of the bottle. I'll do this probably like 3 times. You can see it's getting more and more oil colored. And that should be Probably like 95% of the stuff out of the bottle. Yep, looking good. That nice golden dinosaur fluid. Hell yeah. I always love changing oil. All right, last gallon. We'll be ready to fire up and test this new oil filter out and actually have an oil change. I try to do it every 3,000 to 4,000 miles, but this one has like 5,700, which isn't bad, but I just don't like to let it go that long. Always check your oil level, even if you know how many gallons or quarts it takes, just because it's always good to check. All right, wait for everything down. I have the oil cap replaced as well as the dipstick. We have the new oil filter on the truck. The plug's in, we're full of oil. Let's fire up. I actually want to wipe some of that oil. Actually, I just spray it with some brake cleaner. That's leaking down. But yeah, let's fire up and see how she sounds. Fire up and see how fast she builds oil pressure. Looks good. Looked about normal. All these stupid things. Yeah, looked pretty normal. She sounds really good now. I mean, she always sounds really great after oil change. Hell yeah. I love this truck. She is so nice. Yeah, sounds great. Probably need to clean that filter. I cleaned it last oil change like 5,000 miles ago, but man, it's just dirty, windy, all the dust around here. I also want to change, there's a filter back there, and people say to just delete it if your truck's deleted anyway, and then you don't have any, you don't have to worry about, because if it gets plugged up, you get some blow by, but we're good. This thing runs, it purrs like a kitten. Okay, so I just got back home and I want to check the filter. Let's see what she's at now. So like, looks like 165, 160, almost 170. I'm not exactly sure what it was before because I really don't remember. But I think before it had a little bit of time to sit, because I had to go inside and turn the alarm off and everything. 167, almost 170, which still isn't that bad. And so far there's no leaks, but let's check out the engine, which isn't going to really make a difference with the, with the oil filter. But yeah, everything in here with EGR, these things run super hot. I kind of want to do one where I compare a deleted truck to one that has the EGR. You can see the coolant right there, like 200. This little block has a coolant bypass, which that's kind of cool. You can kind of see stuff. It's kind of hard with the sun. And then right here, yeah, I mean, man, 140, that's not really that bad right there. Down there in between, it's the bottom of the bottle, it's black, but you can see it. I really like this. I really do like this. It's crazy, the piping. Look at the difference of the piping. 78, 80 degrees going out of the turbocharger. And I mean, the intake, like the air temps have to be close to that, which isn't that awful. So, oh, another thing I wanted to check out was the brakes. I mean, I wasn't super hard on the brakes. It's not bad. It's weird that the hot spots on the brakes, which it looks like only like 71 degrees right now, I wasn't really on them, but it's the cracks in the holes, or like the hot spots, and the rest of the rotor is oh no, the cracks are like 120 degrees. Okay, I was looking at the wheel. The wheel is 70 degrees. The cracks are like 120-ish degrees, and the holes in that mount right there, yeah, this thing really shows you what is what's hot and what's not. Look at that, you can see the exhaust. Transfer case, 70 degrees. Whew. Yeah, I definitely recommend getting one of these, because look at that, you could just see everything. You can see if something is like super hot, or if you have like a bearing failure, it'll show it. You can see the downpipe right there. Yeah, you can see that. Oil pan. You can look at the back diff, see if there's any bearing problems there. I mean, the exhaust right there, 121. Looks like the diff's good. You can see the tires. Whew. Man, it's just crazy looking at all this stuff through here. But yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna use this thing all the time, especially at the racetrack. But yeah, it's just interesting seeing the oil filter differences, which once I edit the video, I'll be able to see. I don't think it's very much, but and now that it's sitting, it's probably gonna be a little bit hotter. No, it's actually dropping down pretty quick. So I'm finally back home from the junkyard. It was nice to see the difference with the thermal imager between the stamped steel factory oil filter to the aluminum aftermarket reusable oil filter. And it's gonna be really interesting to see what it looks like in 3,000 to 4,000 miles after I clean the element. It's just really nice not having to buy oil filters anymore, and it was really cheap. So I think the oil filter was like 150 bucks, but oil filters for the 6.7 Powerstrokes have gone up, and I think they're like $32 now from, I think before they're like 15. So after a few oil changes, the oil filter is practically gonna pay for itself. It's like I'm gonna have like free money for oil. So I'm gonna end the video here. If you like these videos and if they're informative, make sure you click that subscribe button, throw a thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.